What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. There is a OF model by the name of Michaela Rittersdam that got wrapped up in a sticky predicament. And when I say wrapped up, I'm talking about she literally got wrapped up with one of her clients who lost his life. Yes, the man lost his life. And before we continue and get into the story, I need y'all to do three things for me. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and share this video so someone else can do the very same thing. And if they don't, then we're going to send Michaela after them. Now, what is it when you pay someone, when you actually pay someone, right, to do an act on you and your fatality happens? You lose your life, you get deleted, but you actually paid this person for their service. For example, if I'm on a roller coaster ride and I actually paid to get into the theme park and I get on this ride, which is supposed to entertain me, right? And I end up losing my life on the ride, does the person who owned the amusement park go to jail? Are they charged with deletion? That's a good question, right? Well, that's the question we are trying to find out the answer to right now when it comes to the case of Michaela, who actually goes by Ashley Sincal. And Ashley, of course, is spelled totally different. Let's just say she didn't run out of S's. Now Ashley was hired and paid $11,000 to perform an act on a client. Yes, she was actually practicing BDSM live and in person, not over the phone, not online, not through a camera, because we all know that some OF models, or most OF models, I would not know because I don't subscribe to that, they actually perform online. They perform for a large audience who probably thinks that they're only performing for them and that they are the only one that subscribe to them. Some of them actually think this, but an OF model performs online. You can pay $9.99 to see their butt. But with Ashley, she was actually performing live and in color. And so this man who was 56 ended up being deleted. He ended up losing his life because of asphyxiation, where he wanted Ashley, well, I'm not going to give it all away. Let's go to the video and find out exactly what happened in the case of the OF model who got all wrapped up with her client.
Welcome back. Now for what's trending in true crime. An OnlyFans fetish encounter ends with a murder charge. Michaela Rittersdam, a mother of three and an OnlyFans model, is the accused. She's accused of killing a male client of hers during one of his sessions. She went by the name Ashley Sincal, and she spelled Ashley A-S-S-H-L-E-Y. That was her name on OnlyFans, and police in California say that she fatally suffocated a male client who hired her to engage in some fetish acts. The alleged crime happened on camera as well. The deceased is Michael Dale. He asphyxiated, police say, after asking Rittersdam to wrap him up in saran wrap, covering him like a mummy. He also requested to be bound by duct tape and have women's boots glued to his feet. This is according to court documents. He also had a plastic bag over his head. Now, the plastic wrappings were left in place for a total of 8 minutes time while the OnlyFans model was busy recording something else. She was on her phone, apparently, police say, and not paying attention. Police acknowledged that she did call 911 and told officers that it was her first time doing BDSM. Law enforcement says that there's no evidence that Dale ever requested that she put a bag over his head. The OnlyFans model is now charged with second-degree murder, and she's pleaded not guilty. So our question this morning, are the charges fair or is she being overcharged?
Now, I forgot to tell y'all about that little small part. I might have left some parts out because I didn't want to give it all away before we got to the video, but she's actually married. And again, what man in his right mind is going to let or allow his wife to get on camera or even go to a client's house? What? Matter of fact, no. That husband is none other than a pimp. He's no more than a pimp. That's exactly what he is. That husband is an actual pimp. She brings the money back to him, whether it's for the household or she literally gives it to him, she still brings the money back to him. So he is actually pimping his own wife out. Now, Ashley, let's call it by her OF name. She went to a client's house. See, they didn't tell you the entire story. She went to a client's house where that client asked her to perform BDSM on him, and he paid her $11,000 to do it. That client was 56. You just heard his name. We're not going to get into that because it's irrelevant to know everyone's name in the story, just like I don't know Ashley's husband's name. But I'm pretty sure a man who actually has morals would be embarrassed. He would be embarrassed to have pictures of him, his family, his wife on an actual court TV video, a court TV episode. He would be embarrassed, especially for this particular reason. Your wife went to perform an act on someone and ended up deleting them. So that client asked Ashley to wrap him up in saran wrap like a mummy. And that's exactly what Ashley did. For $11,000, shit, I would have wrapped his ass up too. Shit, for real. But Ashley ended up wrapping him up just like a mummy, just like he asked. And she also put bags over his head after she wrapped his head up. Now, from other sources, they are saying that he also wanted his eyes glued shut. Yeah, you heard me correctly. He actually wanted his eyes glued shut. Yeah, the freaky things that people do. I don't understand the meaning of that or what kind of pleasure he was going to get from that, aside from the female boots being glued to his feet also. Again, freaky ass US 69 guy. Hey, who actually likes that? Well, obviously the client did. And so while my man was wrapped up like a mummy, bag over his head, women's boots glued to his feet, Ashley was to the side of him performing an act on herself. Yes, she was performing an act on herself and recording it, because you have to remember, OF models will do anything for the bag. Plus, there's all types of fetishes in the OF world. Everyone knows that. There's all types of fetishes. So she was probably recording a video with him. Matter of fact, I know it was with him in the shot. It was with him in the shot. She was performing an act on herself. So she was going to either post it on her OF page or it was live. Either way, people would have seen this. And so they are saying, well, if she recorded the act and she recorded him being wrapped up like a mummy and losing his life when he stopped breathing, then was it actual deletion? Did she actually delete him? Because again, he paid her $11,000 to do this. And now they actually want to charge her with something more serious. They want to charge her with, I believe, premeditated, even though she did not plan to delete this man. Again, she was paid to do it. Now, I see her getting off. Personally, I see her getting off in more than one way. In more than one way. I see her getting off. But how many of y'all believe that she should be locked up? How many of y'all believe that she should get the highest penalty that is allowed for deletion? How many of y'all believe that she should go free and just walk out because she was only serving her purpose and doing her job, what she was paid for? Well, let's see what the panel has to say about this on the episode of the OF model who got wrapped up with the wrong client.
Let's bring back in attorney Tommy Pope and attorney Mario Gallucci and welcome in private investigator Manuel Gomez. Well, this case is a doozy. Apparently, this client wanted to be wrapped up like a mummy. It went very bad. Is murder appropriate here for a charge? Manuel, would you start us off, please, with your thoughts?
Well, good morning, and I think that murder is not appropriate for the fact that she was recording the matter, and if she wanted to commit murder, she wouldn't be recording it. That's one. Second, there is a law in New York, and it is in other states called the Good Samaritan law, which actually protects a person when calling 911 when they're performing emergency medical help on a person from being charged with murder. Now, I think on this case, and I know it varies in every different state what the parameters are for that law, but I think this would be relative in this case. For the fact is, again, this was a fetish. Unfortunately, this happens all the time in New York. People die from sexual acts like this all the time. Especially one of the most famous actors, David Carradine, died from the same thing. I don't think she should be charged with second-degree murder, if anything, at a minimum, manslaughter.
Now, we all know there's 1,000,001 fetishes out here. People have fetishes for everything. And I'm talking about clowns, shoes, weight, water, air. People, this man wanted adhesive poured into his eyes while this act was being performed. So you mean to tell me on top of you suffocating, you didn't want to see your demise coming? And it's not even meant as a joke. I'm being serious here. I'm being serious. You didn't want to see your demise coming. You wanted to be wrapped up in plastic, and that gets you off? Well, it did more than get him off. It got him knocked off. And that is why when it comes to OF, you will see so many different fetishes happening. There's even, get this, there is even a mother and daughter couple on OF that got impregnated by the same man 2 weeks apart. Yeah, look it up. If you don't believe me, look it up. They both, mother and daughter, they both got impregnated by the same man 2 weeks apart. That is wild to me. But guess what? There's a market for it. People have fetishes for anything and everything. Some people get off on that. Just like my man got off on whatever freaky and weird shit him and Ashley Sincal were doing and performing. And trust and believe, she got paid $11K to do that. Well, $11K, if I'm going to pay someone $11K, I actually believe this man wanted his demise. I believe he wanted to be deleted. That's why he paid her so much. Because think about it, you paid someone $11,000 to just wrap you up in saran wrap like a mummy, pour adhesive into your eyes and glue women's boots to your feet, and that got you off. You could have paid her $2,000 for that. She would have done it for $1,000. Matter of fact, forget the two. I went high first, so then I can lowball second. She would have done it for $1,000. Best believe. Because they only subscribe, they have subscribers for $9.99. So she would have done that for $1,000, which probably wouldn't have taken her long. Not to mention, that would have created more content for her because she was going to post it on her page anyway. And so that would have just got her more money. She would have made more money off of that. So on top of the $1,000, she would have made probably a lot more money because there's some freaky ass people out there that would have paid to see her. And so $11,000 to me tells me there was something else behind what happened. This man actually wanted his deletion. I wholeheartedly believe that. The attorneys are not going to try to sell it like that. Well, you never know. Her defense might. And I hope she has enough money to get off on this. And again, I mean in more than one ways. But I hope she has money to pay for the best lawyers because let's be real, you need a good lawyer to get off on this in more than one way. I'm going to stop using that one. I just can't help it. But she's going to need some money. Now, going to her YouTube page, she only has about 400 views on one video, 300 on another, 200 on another. So I don't think Ashley was actually that popular. Well, not until now, because OF models, a lot of them are only making $100 a month. A lot of them are only making $100 a month. Do you hear me? $100 a month to show your butt to everybody. And that to me is crazy. Well, it's not even to everybody. It's only to who subscribes to you. And $100 a month at $9.99. Well, she doesn't have that many subscribers at all. That's what that tells us. And so a lot of them, they're not making that much. And if you go on their other social media pages, if they're not showing their butts, then guess what? They don't make the cut. People are not watching them. And she did not have too many followers. But I guarantee you, after this story gets out, and I'm surprised that it did not make national news. Well, you can actually say that Court TV is a national channel, but no one's speaking about this. I wonder why. No one has had an uproar about this. I wonder why. And if that man was paying her to perform that act on him, I guarantee you that not a lot of people know about him. He probably didn't have too many friends, because that is some freaky ass shit, even though there's a lot of freaky ass people out there who would love to wrap his ass up, pour adhesive in his eyes, and glue some boots to his feet for 11 grand. You're probably sitting there right now thinking, damn, I would have wrapped him up and done all that for 11 grand. Yeah, I know you would have. 11 grand. Some people do a lot worse for less. And so this is a lesson to everyone out there. Your occupation can definitely land you in jail, especially if you're wrapping someone up in saran wrap up to their face where they cannot breathe, and you're not paying attention to that person when they take their last breath. Well, let's follow the case of Ashley Sinclair and see exactly where this lands her. And if it lands her in the slammer, well, let's just say she's got a lot to deal with when she gets in there. And I hope they get her off. Until next time.
If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content.